What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and before we get into all of the talk tonight on this Flyers game, the most important thing you can do is hit that sub button. I will greatly appreciate that. We are very close to the 400 sub count, literally one subscriber away, so if you're a new viewer to the channel, looking for all the latest Philadelphia sports news, recaps, and events, this is the channel to be at. It's a great or a very miserable time, depending on the outcome. And if you're a current subscriber to this channel, I am very grateful for you being here this long. And let's continue to grow this thing together, get it over 400 subs, and continue to move on from there. So, I have a little story to tell you guys before the game. Well, actually, I guess you could say this is during the game. So, in all of my time as a Philadelphia sports fan, watching the games on television, going to the games, just being a fan my entire life, I have done something that I probably have never done in my entire time as a fan. Probably haven't. Like, willingly done so. Like, if there were other times where we were forced to for a specific reason, that doesn't count. But, like, I willingly chose to do this. And this is the first time I've ever done this. I left the game. I left that game early. First time I've ever done that. Just first time. Just plan out, willingly chose to leave the game early. I've never done that in my entire life as a Flyers fan, as a Philadelphia sports fan. But what I witnessed tonight, what we all witnessed tonight, as the Flyers fall to their 8th consecutive game to the Tampa Bay Lightning by a score of 7-1. Probably one of the worst dumpster fires you have ever seen is the Philadelphia Flyers organization. How a team that has had 3 days off to prepare for this game, to prepare for this back-to-back, somehow falls to a team that has played their 3rd game in 4 nights. And this is a back-to-back for them. They played last night in Boston. They won in overtime. They're playing tonight, starting their backup goaltender in Brian Elliott, who hasn't put up good numbers this season for them. And you only score 1 goal against them, but that's not the whole problem because you allow 7 goals to a team that has played 3 games in 4 nights. And it's funny too, Tampa Bay eventually did look tired in this game, but it didn't really matter because they were already up 7-1. Yeah, it didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. Because it's funny too, because the first period, the Flyers actually looked like a good team. They were controlling some pace, but they weren't finishing, and that was the issue. And when Tampa Bay scored their first goal, seconds later they scored their second. And then when you get into the second period, when one bad thing happens, everything falls out of control. Like it did tonight, like it's been doing over this 8-game losing streak, like it did last year, like it's done for a while now. And fans are sick of it, and it's very warranted. Because this type of game, it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to this organization. It's an embarrassment to this fan base. And this type of game, showing off this type of lack of energy. Just nothing. Lifeless on the ice. Just nothing. When you have 3 days to prepare for this. That is a fireable offense for that entire coaching staff. Honestly, that could be a fireable offense for a front office. That could be, I wouldn't be surprised if every player is traded because of that. Because that just shouldn't happen. That should not happen. Because we have had expectations in 2019-2020 where they probably surpassed our expectations and became a really good team. Sadly, COVID shut that season down, and ever since the bubble playoffs, the Flyers were never able to find that team again. They just were never able to find that team that was so dominant in 1920. They were just never able to. Once they got into the bubble, they were a completely different team. Last year, completely different team. They sucked. And this year, it's more of the same. And fans are sick of it. Fans are tired of it. I'm tired of it. You're tired of it. And I don't know what's going to change. Because I don't see Alain Vigneault getting fired. I just, even though this type of game is warranting of a firing of any sort, it really is. It's not going to happen. It just isn't. Comcast isn't going to do it. Chuck Fletcher isn't going to do it. Nothing's going to happen. They're going to play the course like they always do. They're going to be patient like they've always been. I'm seeing teams around the league right now that are not meeting their expectations and are probably faltering as well. I'm talking about the Vancouver Canucks firing their head coach, and it might be sounding like they're firing their GM as well, and they go out and hire another head coach that's on the market. They're trying to fix their problems. They're trying to address the issue. What are the Flyers doing right now? Nothing. Sitting on their asses and thinking that it's going to get better eventually. You know what players I feel bad for on this team? Carter Hart. I feel bad for Carter Hart because there are a lot of people, a lot of fan bases in this league that think he is terrible. But Carter Hart is the sole reason so many times this season for most of their wins. He is. He is the sole reason for a lot of their wins this year, and they don't have that many. They don't. They only have 8. It's been a while since they won a fucking game. A while. Martin Jones has also been some of the sole reasons why they won their games as well. Goaltending has not been an issue this year. Surprisingly. I feel bad for Claude Giroux as well. Claude Giroux has had his career fucking wasted here because this organization is so inept to build around him. They are. They have not built a single contender over his tenure as captain, and people want to blame Claude Giroux for that. It's sickening. It's embarrassing on how you wasted a player's career. Other players that I could feel bad for, I don't know, maybe Sean Couturier, maybe Ivan Provorov. I don't know. Players that, maybe Joel Farabee, I feel bad for. Other players that I don't, but players I don't feel bad for. I don't feel bad for Travis Konechny. I don't feel bad for James Van Riemsdyk. I don't feel bad for Travis Sanheim. Who else? I don't feel bad for Scott Laughton. I hate saying this because I love the guy to death, and I appreciate and I respect what the hell he's been through. Right now, I'm not feeling bad for Oscar Lindblom because there are so many players. I feel bad for Kevin Hayes. That's also another player I feel bad for because of all the shit that he went through this entire year. The loss of his brother, all the injuries and surgeries that he's had to go through. I feel bad for him. But the other guys that I mentioned that I don't feel bad for, they're not cutting it. They are not cutting it right now. And something has to change. Something has to give. I could sit here, scream the entire time, but I don't think it's worth it. Because if a team out there does not want to show the passion and live up to the expectations that we have, why do I have to do that? Why do I have to show that passion on a mic, screaming into the mic through the camera right now to you guys? I know you guys probably want to see me do that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm pissed off as hell. I'm just defeated. This is the voice, this is the sound of a defeated person. And we probably all feel the same. We do. I barely have to even go over this game because this game was just pure garbage. It was. It was absolute garbage. And I don't know what's going to happen. Because Alain Vigneault, in his press conference, he sounds clueless. He sounds lost. He doesn't know what to do. I feel bad for all of these players right now. And I want to go to Twitter right now to see guys like Claude Giroux talk and see what he's been saying on this. It's got JVR talking. Hard to put his finger on the problem. I don't know. It's already been confirmed that Martin Jones is going to get the start tomorrow against the Avalanche. So, God. I'm defeated. I'm so defeated. Oh, God. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Because if you look at this team right now, just look at them for just everything currently. It's just mind-boggling. And like I've said many times, it's so hard to, just think of solutions, think of, what could happen, what could possibly happen here, but we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how to fix this stuff. At the end of the day, this team just isn't good. They just aren't. The fan base's anger is warranted. We're all frustrated because we had expectations coming into this season after a huge overhaul of this team that it was going to be different. But no, right now it's continuing to be more of the same. Because you have lost 8 straight. You lost this game. You lost to the Rangers. You lost to the Devils. You lost to Carolina, Florida, Tampa, Boston, Tampa. Like, you continue losing. Your last win was November 16th against Calgary. That was your last win. And your upcoming schedule, it's not going to be any easier. I can see this losing streak going even further than 8 games. Tomorrow against Colorado especially. Because you know why? Colorado is a way better team than this franchise. Colorado is a way better team. I could see the Flyers losing tomorrow. Wednesday against New Jersey. They beat us last week. I can honestly see them beating us again. Vegas on Friday in Vegas. Oh, that's going to be tough. Arizona. They're a shittier team than the Flyers, but honestly, I can see that with the way this team is going right now, I can honestly see them losing to Arizona. I can. With the way they're not able to score goals and just the entire way this team has been playing. I can see that wholeheartedly. New Jersey again on the 14th. I can see that being a loss. Montreal has been a bad team this year, but I can still see us losing to them. Ottawa. Honestly, I can see us losing to Ottawa, even though Ottawa's been bad this year. Washington, I can see that as a loss. Pittsburgh, loss. Christmas break against Seattle, even though we whopped them earlier in the season. I can honestly see it as a loss. San Jose. I can see a lot of these games as a loss. Because you know why? I'm not confident in this team's ability to win a game right now. Because they haven't shown me that they have the ability to win the game. Going back to Chuck Fletcher's press conference, he really hindered on, those first 10 games of the season. Look how good we were in those first 10 games. Well, Chuck, it's been a lot more than 10 games since then. It has been. It has been a lot more than 10 games. Because I think there was a stat during the game that I saw on Twitter. I think it was since October 28th, I believe. Since that Vancouver game in October, at the end of the month, the Flyers have gone, I think, 16 or 17 straight games scoring 3 goals or fewer. They haven't scored above 3 goals since October 27th. That is a whole month and a half since they've scored more than 3 goals. A whole month and a half. And the other 2 teams that were on top of that list, guess how recent those 2 teams were? 2017 and 2015. Remember those Flyers teams? How bad they were? This team is getting right up there with those 2 teams. And the other couple of teams I think that were on the list, I think it was a team in 2011, I believe, or 2008 or something like that, and then 2002. So yeah, this whole decade has been, a plethora, a misery for Flyers fans. It has been. And just looking at their record currently, because why not? I know I'm just not talking as much in this, but I just have nothing to say. I just don't. So I apologize for that standpoint, but at this I'm done with this team. I'm still going to be watching these games because I am a lunatic. I am. I'm covering this game tomorrow for Flyers Nitty Gritty in the press box. So yeah, that'll be fun. It's a great opportunity. But watching this team, I'm doing it for the opportunity, not to watch this team. I think that's the standpoint there. But looking at this record right now, this team where they're at, they're 8-10-4 with 20 points. They are, if I look at the entire league, they rank 24th in the league. In the teams that are below them, Seattle, Buffalo, Chicago, Vancouver, Montreal, the Islanders, Ottawa, and Arizona. And currently, the other team that's been struggling a lot this year in their own division has been the Islanders, and they're on a 10-game losing streak. So the Flyers can honestly creep up to that territory eventually. It's going to be very eventually. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Because this team, if this continues, no, they're not going to be competitive for the rest of the year. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to pull another run like that out of their asses like they've done so many times throughout the past decade. They're just not going to do that. This team is just, no, they're not going to. With the way they're playing. I don't see them getting out of it. And if they're going to make changes to the coaching staff, what are they really going to do? Because say if they were to fire Alain Vigneault, Who's going to replace him? A guy that probably would have been on the market for that replacement, Bruce Boudreau. He's in Vancouver now. He just got hired by them. And that's an organization right now that's struggling and not living up to their expectations and faltering. Their ownership is making a stance to, change some things. I wish this organization would do that. But you know why? Comcast is never going to do that. That's the issue with having a corporate-owned team. Or being owned by a corporation, I should say. Because no one in their right mind, in that Comcast, Spectacor, or Comcast, whatever you want to fucking call them, they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They just don't. They don't. Dave Scott, all the other people he has brought in for the business side of the team, that's all this ownership is treating this team like. It's a goddamn business. Because, ever since Ed Snyder passed, that's all it's been. It's only been a business. Because the separation from the season ticket holders, the, lack of ability to go into a rebuild, because this team desperately needed a rebuild when they never went through one. The separation from now, them, and the alumni, because going back to the recent alumni game and the Hall of Fame induction ceremony for Rick Tocchet and Paul Holmgren, yeah, that was embarrassing. There was so much separation between them and the alumni. The way this team is constantly being built. The, constant, advertising of Gritty over the entire team. And look, I like Gritty. I'm a guy that, says this team is eventually going to get a mascot. I like mascots. But I hate how the team is using this guy. I don't hate Gritty. I hate how the team is using him. Because they're using him as the face of the franchise. And that's sad. That is absolutely sad. Advertise the fucking players. Advertise something else besides Gritty. It's ridiculous at this point on how poorly this team is being run into the ground at this point. And ownership, they're never going to sell. Comcast is one of the richest corporations in the goddamn country. The only way another owner comes into this team is if they buy some share into the Flyers and kick Comcast's ass out of the owner chair and take over for fucking Dave Scott because he has no clue what he's doing. But do I see that happening in the ongoing future? No. So we're stuck in this goddamn mess hole until something actually gets fixed, which I don't see happening. I just don't. This team is probably more likely to luck their way into a Stanley Cup rather than trying to build it for one properly. And I feel like that's more likely than the other outcome. Because there are so many other teams in this league that are better built for their future than the Flyers. And yeah, we're in win now mode, and look where it's getting us. Embarrassing. It's embarrassing, but I think I'm going to end this video before I get even more frustrated because I did not want to come onto this camera and scream the entire time. But I want to get your entire thoughts on this entire thing, everybody. Your thoughts on this game, your thoughts on this Flyer stretch. What the hell are you thinking about right now? So don't forget to leave those comments and opinions down in the comment section below. I would like to hear them as always. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video. Do not forget to check out the Painted Lions, which I'm a part of. The links are down in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out the links to BrodesMedia, the Flyer.pod merch website, and also Flyers Nitty Gritty. All that stuff is down in the description below. Do not forget to check those out. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the most important thing you do is hit that sub button. I'll greatly appreciate that, and I will see you next time.